There may not be a more prominent display of growth than a lush garden like the one I'm in right now. Thank you for joining me here in this space. I'm Liz Adiola. Coming up on This is Utah, we explore how seeds planted years ago have blossomed into art, action, and advocacy. You'll meet a few powerful women making their mark on this world one stroke at a time. From a wise artist whose colorful world amplifies the voices of women and struggling artists, to a media mogul whose craft creates new possibilities for women in Utah. Plus, an award-winning student who is already breaking barriers and leaving her mark in the field of science.
This is Utah is made possible in part by the Willard L. Eccles Foundation, the Lawrence T. and Janet T. Dee Foundation, and by the contributions to PBS Utah from viewers like you. Thank you.
Now for a different perspective from the Humanities Building at the University of Utah, where local artist Pilar Pobil's largest piece of work hangs in the foyer. This 12-foot painting is nearly 3 times the artist's size, yet its scale pales in comparison to the artist's reach and impact on Utah's art scene.
First, I get my canvas. You put colors in the background. You want to do sky or something. The one idea that you have first bring you another idea, an idea. And you are never totally sure of what the painting is going to be like. Could be a disaster, you know. Everything has a story. I was born from the sea with a paintbrush in my hand. My Spanish name is Pilar Pobil, and that is how I sign my paintings. So I came to Salt Lake City in 1957. I consider home this house. You know, most of my life has been here, and my 3 children were born here, and my husband was from here.
It's a place where people can come and see and experience art and have fun. And there isn't that wall between being the viewer and being the artist.
This is Pilar Pobil's home. She is an artist that does painting and sculpture. And what's really special about her house is that she has just decorated everything.
When I think something is boring or ugly, I just paint it. Like my aunt used to say, never a dull moment.
And did you make this one too?
Yeah, everything like this is my work. The mermaids, I used to do a lot of mermaids. And these kind of things, the Pierrotti Colombina, these were some street players.
And this area.
Well, all these are awards, and I have many more than that, you know.
Mm-hmm. But this is the one from the king right here?
Yes, that's from the King of Spain. And this is the highest award that they can give, is the Medalla de la Reina Isabel Católica. I am very proud of Spain.
She grew up in Mallorca. She celebrates the Mediterranean and the ocean and all of the myths and stories that go with it.
This is one of my favorite paintings. And I call it the Submerged Cathedral. Many of my paintings, inspired by things that I think they are not right or they are very, very right. Somebody painted the Knight of the Round Table. And that's fine with me. But I decided, well, I'm going to paint the dames of the Round Table.
She gets up every morning and comes downstairs, has her coffee, comes out in the garden, does some work here, goes in and paints. It's such an example. She just doesn't give up, ever. That's a darker blue.
No, I want it.
Here's a lighter one.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that what I've inherited from my mom is just art. A lot of people have said that my music and mom's art are sort of symbiotic. I mean, it's kind of outsider art in a way, right? There's a way in which she's just done what she cares about, what inspires her in the moment, including painting outside of the canvas and into the frames, and just a way of seeing that I think has been inspiring to people.
So it's like a Spanish, yeah. It's beautiful.
I always have wanted to do my art the way that it comes out of me. And so I bought books for me to read, and I learned from that. This is a painting that I decided to do because there are so many people here. They don't like certain kind of people. I call this painting The Colors of Change, because everybody should be appreciated for what they are. I believe in democracy. I believe in people are supposed to be treated equally. I come from Spain. When we had the Civil War, I was 9 years old, and they killed my father. Murdered with 40 of his officers when I was 9 years old. And I adored him, you know, and it was a terrible thing. We were hiding in an attic, and the cook would take me and my younger sister for a walk to give us a little bit of air, you know. Since then, I have known how much damage people can do just because of idiot opinions. When my father was killed and we suffered very much, I was going to emancipate from my mother because she only wanted her daughters to stay home with her or go to a convent to be nuns. And I said, I'm not going to do any of these things. So this is when I decided to learn to speak English. To pay for it, I was making greeting cards and I was painting them and selling them to the shop in a place for tourists. And they wanted more and more and more.
How many paintings do you think you've done over the years?
No way to know. I have sold a lot of paintings.
I heard you earlier talking about, did art in some ways save her from the tragedy of her early life? And I think so.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest impacts has been Art in the Garden. It's shared the space with a lot of artists who've had the chance to show to big audiences, but it's also a very democratic event.
We have done some scholarships at the University of Utah, you know.
Pilar, for years, has invited school children into her home. She wants them to know that she came from another country and she was able to create beauty, and they have beauty in their souls as well.
It has been a challenge, you know, all these house and things, but I have enjoyed life doing it, you know. I'm very happy. It was going to be called the Burial Chamber, but then I changed it because what it is not a burial chamber, it is a celebration of life. This painting is my son. He died at the beginning of COVID. It has my father's sword. It had photographs of my father. I had books that my father bought to me that have, even now, they inspire some of my paintings. I hope they remember that I have a sense of humor, that I am a good worker, and that I love people who fight for themselves, because all my life I tried to do the best I could. I feel like I have been a very lucky person, to be able to spend my life like that, and to help so many other artists to do it too.
A Utah team plans to make her mark on the world in the field of breast cancer research. While Utah has been known to have a low number of women participating in STEM, that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, she joins quite a few who aim to change that.
Mercedes Claire Randhahn. Mercedes will be attending MIT.
My name is Mercedes Randhahn. Many of you probably know about me, but very few of you actually know me. Yeah, I'm going to MIT.
Well, Mercedes is going to cure cancer, for sure. I already know that. She's already done research trying to cure cancer.
Mercedes is an incredibly unique individual based upon the focus of her current project, which is really to help women in underdeveloped countries be able to treat breast cancer with plant extracts that are readily available with common everyday items.
In many places, some people say that Utah is 20 years behind the rest of the world, especially places like New England, which is part of why I'm excited to attend MIT. Understanding that women have exactly the same capabilities as men, especially in regards to the STEM field, will only help further the fight for environmental justice and for healthcare reform.
Trying to figure out how to get more women into STEM is something that us teachers have been trying to do for years and years and years. I found the best way is to let them show you how they can succeed. And when they see themselves succeeding in a class that is typically male-dominated, they realize they can do it.
It may be difficult for some young women to see themselves pursuing a professional degree and having a family at the same time. But I think the number of role models that maybe students, young women in Utah have is a little bit lower, and so maybe they don't see that that's as much of a possibility as it really is.
Last year I competed in the 2022 International Science and Engineering Fair, which was held in Atlanta, Georgia. And the project that I presented at that time was I compared two different efficient methods of extract methodology for the production of a Centella asiatica, which is a plant native to Central Asia extract. And essentially what I did is I took those two different extracts that I created and I tested them on this strain of triple-negative breast cancer cells to decipher which extract methodology was more potent and more able to induce death to those cancerous cells.
You meet resistance as somebody who is a female scientist, and I feel that it's critical to support women who are interested in pursuing careers in the sciences.
In the purified extract procedure, where I used a centrifuge, and the crude extract procedure, I used a salad spinner to model centripetal acceleration. So essentially, they both had the same procedure, but it was made using different equipment. And after the culmination of my experiment and upon analyzing results, I found that the crude procedure was actually far more efficient at inducing demise to the cancerous cells than was the expensive one.
That sort of focus of her research leads me to believe that she'll continue in that sort of altruistic path to try to make the world a better place.
Whatever she does, it will be amazing. I know it for sure.
Oh, I think the sky's the limit for Mercedes.
Yeah, well, Mercedes is pretty rockin', so.
As a young child, Belia Paz learned the value of communication and the power it has to impact a community in a positive way. As an activist, entrepreneur, and leader, Paz has redefined what it means to survive and thrive in Utah's growing Hispanic community.
My name is Belia Paz, and I am the general manager for Aerostar Media, 2 Hispanic radio stations here in Salt Lake City. And I'm also the founder of Mujeres Unidas de Utah, which stands for United Women of Utah. My mother was a contratista, which means she was a contractor for field work. And so every morning, me and my brother would have to go out to work with her so we wouldn't be alone, but she'd also put us to work, which I'm very grateful for. There was a lot of things that I saw, but a lot of things that I've learned. And that was, it wasn't fair not to have restrooms out in the fields for us, right? And so growing up in the years, I became an advocate for our Hispanic community, when I was younger. At 14, I became a police dispatcher. That's where I was able to see a lot more injustice. I became, like a little young leader in Idaho. And that's where it all started in my youth, becoming a voice for the voiceless is what I always say. And the mission of Mujeres Unidas de Idaho was to advocate for women and advocate for social justice. Being a little young, feisty Latina, I had never been spanked or hit ever in my life until I got married, which caused a lot of fear. But I'm also grateful for that it did happen to me, that I was able to live that domestic violence, because now I'm helping thousands of women live something that I lived. And that is why Mujeres Unidas I was very passionate about helping women. I became a radio DJ. I was able to talk about survivor stories, and that's what led other women calling me on air, calling me and saying, I lived that. I brought Mujeres Unidas de Utah, making a difference for hundreds of women. One of the stories that I love to talk about is a lady from Guatemala with her kids with no shoes, living out in the streets, and she found us. She found Mujeres, and I helped her with a food box. She went to the radio station. That's where we were running our office, our donations and stuff. Now just to see this woman as a business owner now being a volunteer and helping us, that's the kind of help we want to do and try and make a difference to help women.
Bueno, amigos, en este precioso domingo, digo precioso siempre porque sí es un día hermoso que Dios nos da cada día.
We have a Sunday program. It's called Woman to Woman, de Mujer a Mujer. And it's just issues that us women talk about on both stations, on 104.7 FM and 107.1 FM. We, as a board of directors, invite leaders from the community to come and talk, or if not, we have the conversation about what we go through and have that heart-to-heart talk.
Cada día que despierto, me levanto, gracias por las bendiciones que vienen.
Wow, qué hermoso empezar con unas palabras que fortalecen tu alma, porque si estás débil y alguien viene y te dice, qué bien te ves, qué bien luces, buenos días, déjame darte un abrazo, te retroalimenta. Pero
I think Elizabeth Cruz is, a poet, an author, and what she's lived through has become an amazing leader. The work that I see her doing and what I've seen her growth, I'm so appreciative about that. And I'm proud because I've tried to hold her hand to get to where she's at today.
Mi nombre es Elizabeth Cruz González. Trabajo para Aerostar Media, ya que era muy solitaria y muy vacía mi vida. Tuve un año muy difícil porque vino un divorcio y él se fue y me dejó sola con 6 niños. Ese mismo año descubrí que tenía cáncer. Ese mismo año falleció mi papá. Ese mismo año quedé en la calle, sin trabajo, sin familia, solo buscando a Dios. Me encuentro muy feliz de haber cambiado mi vida con Mujeres Unidas de Utah. Y todas nos ayudamos para brillar y salir adelante. El Día de los Muertos es una tradición que todos los mexicanos llevamos en la sangre y recordamos a nuestros seres queridos a todos los que ya partieron y nos dejaron el corazón herido, como mis padres, mi madre, mis hijas que fallecieron, mis abuelos, mis amigos.
It is a lot of work to be able to get so many people together and especially dress as Catrinas and get the altars. Because really the Day of the Dead is to acknowledge our loved ones. And with cultural and color and, well, we call it fiesta, right? They're there with us. And it's just beautiful to see all the work and the organization and getting united as a community to celebrate. I honor my family, my father who's passed, but I also live to honor the women that I don't want to forget. We did Day of the Dead celebration last year, and we did an altar on domestic violence on the women that have passed. And I think that that's what I look at, is to see who are we honoring? I mean, are we honoring the women that are forgotten? You know, we should remember them, even if it was 10, 12 years ago.
So I'm going to open doors now, and I just need the volunteers that are bringing the families in. So
we do a lot of community outreach, whether it's workshops or family give-backs. Usually in November, we'll do turkey giveaways and coat giveaways, blanket. It's keeping families warm. In August, we do another back to school. And we always seek, whether it's a backpack or a coat or something that might be able to help a family. And that's what we're doing, is helping families. But also on a monthly basis, we're helping our women. But also women that reach out on a daily basis that might need a food box or some clothing, or that have no place to stay. And it saddens me. It really saddens me when I cannot find the place for them. And there's times I can't even sleep thinking, oh my gosh, I couldn't help her. I had to say no. So we have a mission, and it's been my mission that I've been wanting to do for many years, to do a transitional housing, a 6-month transitional, where the women will stay in the home for 6 months. We're going to be her family. We're going to make her feel safe. And so this place that we're going to call their home is projected to be ready by 2025.
Mi cultura se expande con la música, con la danza, con la comida, con los colores, con las obras de arte, con su belleza. Estoy agradecida de que la gente de Utah ame mi país, porque mi país es vida.
From coming from Idaho to Utah, wow, big difference. There's so much Latin American cultural. And what I mean is, you're seeing Brazil, you're seeing Cuba, you're seeing Puerto Rico, you're seeing Venezuela, Mexico. Here you're going to find a restaurant that serves Bolivian food and restaurants that serve Venezolano food. And you see it. And you're even seeing the Venezolanos festival, or the Bolivian festival, you know, the Peru festival. Every cultural, every color, everyone is important. And so being able to see diversity in our state is beautiful. I have this phrase that I say at all of our events when I get up and talk. And in Spanish, it's unidas somos más fuertes, which means united, we are stronger. When we support each other, we become stronger. We have to help each other. And if we can help another woman, or even, another cultural event, I will do so. I will be there. because you see a lot sometimes of separation, and I want to unite. I want to unite us. Unidas somos más fuertes.
You know what? No matter what stage we're at in life, we are all growing in certain ways. Won't you grow with us by becoming a part of the This Is Utah community on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram? Share your favorite stories, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Liz Adiola, and this is Utah.
This is Utah is made possible in part by the Willard L. Eccles Foundation, the Lawrence T. and Janet T. D. Foundation, and by the contributions to PBS Utah from viewers like you. Thank you.